So a couple more financial related stories.
Kind of the big one, yeah.
Here's the big financial story of the day. See if I can get a picture here.
Yeah, Dr. Penny Sutcliffe, which you may not know, she is Greater Sudbury's Medical Officer of Health. So her 2021 salary, are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Was just more than $800,000.
That's it.
Yeah, so she was the 9th highest paid public servant in the province last year.
So the 9th highest paid.
And now we do need to temper this number of $800,000. That may seem like a lot of money to normal people like us. But she said more than $219,000 of that amount was unpaid overtime from the year 2020. So I would venture to bet that this lady's overtime, lady is disrespectful, sorry, this officer's overtime is probably double what the average household in Sudbury is bringing home. That's just her overtime.
Okay.
And $263,000 from 2021, just in overtime.
So we were talking earlier, and I think it was, since 2020?
Yeah, that was unpaid overtime from 2020 and 2021.
Which amounted to come up to $800,000 at the end of the day?
That's right, yeah.
Which puts her in the top 10 of the highest paid.
For this year, yeah.
Public servants, correct? Is that,
Now, there was an interesting metric or statistic, and that was Sudbury District Public Health worked 61,000 hours of overtime just over the course of the pandemic. That's not her personally, because that would literally be impossible. Yeah. But the point is, they've been working overtime. Public Health Sudbury has really been on the clock in the last couple of years. Now, in the release that, because when a salary like this is released, they have to do a press release.
Yep.
Because it seems, people are going to ask questions like we are, right?
Yeah. So
it says long hours, reassignments, 7-day multi-shift work weeks, canceled vacations, significant and long-standing overtime have stretched and tested everyone's resilience. Today's salary disclosure reflects this workload and includes 60 public health employees for 2021 as compared to just 28 employees in 2020 and just 9 in 2019. So they've more than 6 times the number of staff in the public health unit for Sudbury since 2019.
And we're getting this story. I think CTV, Northern Ontario, covered this, right? And that's the website I'm
Yep, this is on Northern Ontario CTV.
So if you want to check out more of that and the details, like it, love it, want to leave it, want to loathe it, either way, whatever your position is, get informed. And you can read more about it on CTV Northern Ontario.
I mean, this is a salary. Like, you have to think that this is not including fees.
Yeah. I know.
Like, that is an incredible amount of money.
It's a lot. I think $800,000 is a lot of money.
Maybe we should do a poll. Isn't that double what we were joking about Anthony Fauci's salary the other day?
Yeah, he makes the upper end of the $300,000, but that's American, 300,000 American.
So their buying power is higher.
That's right about 800,000 Canadian.
You think so?
Well, it's about 600.
Isn't he the highest paid public official
in the States?
In the United States? So that makes you consider something.
For sure. But it's interesting how the health officials, the public servants in the health industries are paid more.
Typically, yeah.
More than other public servants, right? So,
I mean, she went from being the boss of 9 people, and we don't know what her salary was in 2019.
Yeah.
The boss of 9 people to being the boss of 60 people.
Yeah. So, a lot more work, or you have a lot more supervisors and things under you and managers that possibly do a lot more of the workload, right? So maybe there's less work, more responsibility.
It's just interesting to me because the same individuals that endlessly praise like public health officials and thank them at every turn also seem to be the people that hate CEOs getting paid these immense salaries. And I just like to point out that they're the same people a lot of the time. Like, how many people do you know that are making almost $1 million a year?
Very few.
Regardless of how much overtime they're doing.
Very, very few.
It's kind of implicit in the job when you're making that kind of money that you're going to be working some overtime. Like, you're going to have to work on a Saturday once in a while.
That's true.
And that's not travel expenses included.
Now, we don't know exactly like how rigorous. No, we're being skeptical and critical.
We're being very skeptical.
And naturally we are. So, and we're really toning down our skepticalness at this point too as well.
Yeah, we could be much harsher, yeah.
But so again, it's local news, keep it light, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't
I mean, it's a necessary job. It's important that we have someone that's kind of in charge of these things. But you also my opinion is you also want someone that's going to be held accountable.
For sure, yeah.
So, like, maybe that does require a larger salary.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot resting on the shoulders of someone with that title. Like, if Sudbury performed pretty well, I think relatively well, during the pandemic. Not like I look at the statistics every day, but like, yeah, that you should be compensated for doing a great job. You inevitably are going to save lives if you do a good job.
I remember having this conversation with some good friends of mine, just different. We're on different ends of the political spectrum, and I was saying maybe politicians need to be volunteers. So that way you have people who really are passionate about doing it, so you know they're not doing it for money, let's say, and you can't use money to manipulate or whatever the person. They said, no, I think they need to be paid way more money than they're paid now. Right. And so that's what you're saying. The more money you pay, the more you can expect back.
Well, that's not necessarily my point, but I think that if you're treating them as a CEO, then that's what you would do naturally.
Yeah, because the going rate for CEOs is really high, right? So
it's really high,
going higher a lot faster these days as well. So,
but usually, I mean, usually not always the case, but usually CEOs are paid in stock option as well. So like they have skin in the game.
For sure.
Right? So is 800,000, it's actually 800,700. So just over 800,000. We're not rounding up, by the way.
That's $700. It could go a long way.
But that could go to childcare costs, you know?
Yeah.
It could be a month of childcare.
That's true.
Under the new system.
For sure.
You know, $800,000, if that's $1,000 per life saved because of your work, maybe that's like a good deal for us.
Yeah.
Is a life worth $1,000? Yeah.
Well, I would say that's a great
question. That's a great deal if that's the only factor.
I just keep thinking, what do I need to do to make $800,000 a year? So I'm willing to work a lot of overtime, and and I can possibly entertain that thought. So yeah.
No, that is just that's an amount of money that's unfathomable.
So we found the story this morning. Billy actually brought it up to us, and we've been just kind of just on this story.
This is a good thing to temper the story with, though, is that it's not, her salary is not being, or at least the overtime for her salary is not being levied from municipal levies. So it's like, it's not property taxes, that are being increased. Because if you were to do the math, I think we did this math. If you were to divide it on a per person basis, her salary is about $5 per person per year at $800,000. Now her normal salary is not $800,000. That's just this year because she got some back pay for overtime and stuff like that. But that's $5 per person per year just going towards her salary.
For sure.
So it's nice to know that it's not just coming from property tax.
Yeah. Well, it sounds a lot lighter if you just say $5 a person.
I don't know. I consider that a lot.
Well, when you understand, but the sound of $5 a person isn't a lot.
When I was in my early years of college, $5 to me was a Subway sandwich.
For sure.
And I measured everything by that ruler.
Oh, I know. It
That
depends on who
12-inch
you're talking
ruler.
to. So I just want to
Yeah.
show our folks at home that they can catch this story right here on CTV, Northern Ontario.